Hello friends, welcome to the part 2 of the creating an ATS or Applicant Tracking System with WordPress and Gravity Forms. Okay, let's just do a brief review on our segments and forms that we previously created. The goal of this video is to create an applicant tracking system so the user could apply on your website's form for a specific job and uploads its resume or tells you whatever or he or she could do and actually sends you all the information that you provided and asked. Then we're going to compile and search and filter those resumes and CVs, and we finally going to select one and putting in a status for it. For example, the status of reviewing, forwarding to the supervisor, and asking to interview. Let's proceed. And here we created a form with the name of create job. It is actually a form that lets you define a new job on your website. For example, we created 2 jobs. Let's open entries with the names of front-end development and back-end developer job positions. It was on-site and the salary was different and some other stuff. We created also another view for it, and we let the user to see these job opportunities, and the user could click on view detail to learn more about the job, and at the final step they could just simply apply for the job. The job is automatically selected, so the user just only needs to enter their information, name, and upload their CV. This was the previous videos, jobs, and we passed all this stuff. If you just want to do this, go and watch over the video 1. In this video, we are in this step that user have told us about himself, and we knew about him and lots of others. So, for example, we have received 50 CVs and 50 resumes, and actually we have to decide about them. So we are going to create, and we're going to need a view for the form name apply. So we just click on create a view, name it CVs, and the form data sources apply form. We could just select the list, data table, map, or DIY. I'm going to select simply a table. About the table, let's just clear them all and add some important stuff. We need a job to identify actually which job position this user has applied. Their name, last name, phone number. I don't need email, I could just put it on detail. I don't need CV, I just created by and created day. Created by is actually the same with the name because they're not logged in user. So this is my general view or multiple entries view. Let's just set single view, and in this one I'm going to add everything: job name, last name, phone number, email, and their CV. Approval entries, I could just add it to the multiple view. Created by, created date, I'm going to set it, update date, and entry ID, the user's IP address, approval status, entry star, and just data source. Let's just move the draw number to the multiple views so we just get a good result number. Just make it very neat and in order. Just drag it here, and we just need to add a link to a single entry, so we could go to the single entry. After that, there is the entry ID and approval status. Okay, I'm going to define and just talk more about this. Okay, let's just uncheck this show only approved entries. In this step, we want to see all the entries, and if needed, we are going to approve them. And in the next view, for example, for the CEO to see only approved entries, we're going to check this. In this step, we do not need it, and we just want to show all 15 one view. If you check this, it will just show a blank form and blank table, so you could just do some searches, for example, a date, a limitation, or email address, or everything. We just keep it unchecked. Hide empty fields, yes, and let's just deal with it. Publish the view. It will generate a shortcode. Here we go. We're going to just copy and embed it in a new page. So here we go with a new page. Where is it? Just new page. Name it received CVs, maybe. And just paste the shortcode and choose it. Okay, now we have a page to show the received CVs and entries on a page with the direct link, so I can share it to my manager or everyone. There's only one submit. Let's just do more. For example, I'm a new person with the name of John Doe, with the phone number of something test @ domain.com, and just nothing. It is not required, so I'm skipping for a test. I'm submitting it. Okay, here we got a fatal error. It is very important to know if you're using WordPress from the scratch. If you just read this email, read this error message, it is telling you the PHP mailer has not been set yet. Okay, why we do need this? For example, when you submit a form, the form has ability to send a notification. By default, it is sending an email address to the admin of the website, and in this case, the email hasn't set yet, so we got an error. There's two options. We could just install plugins like PHP Mailer or SMTP Mail plugins to just create the setting about sending email, or just simply we could delete the alert of sending email. In this apply, in this setting, we have a notification here. You just need to delete it. I will set a notification later in the setting. So if I just refresh this page, here we go. The applied user for apply form has been submitted. So if you remember, there was just only one request. Now it is 3 because I just refreshed the page and submitted twice. Let's just delete the second entry, the repetitive entry. You could just set the, for example, phone number to be non-repetitive, so there have been no duplicate entries. I just didn't set it. Just refresh. Here is the 2 persons who has applied for the one for back end and one for front end job. So I could just see the detail of this person. His name is John Doe with this form, and if he only actually provided a CV. I could just see as a file, and this is the data source that has been submitted. So I know that it is from the form of apply on the Rasbino website. Maybe there's a lots of websites you're using or some other stuff. Okay, I could just decide to confirm this entry or this person or decline it. As a backend, I'm going to approve it, so this user is all right and we can proceed on the process of ATS. And I'm declining the second one because unsophisticated or lack of no CV. I'm just rejecting it. So if I only, as you remember that checkbox on the view, only if I check this show only approved entries in the auto form, they'll only see the entries that I have actually approved, and rejected ones are going to be erased from the list. So in this case we just knew how to show the resume and CVs on the website and how to approve them. What about filtering and just searching for one item? If I only tap here, for example, the last name of this user, it is just giving me the result. But if I want to just search two items, one for job and the last name, I cannot do that with this field. It is just one single field, and I cannot clear the search. I have to just do a simple empty search to erase it. For doing this, in the views setting up here in the header, there is a search bar by default. If you click on this setting icon here, you can change or add lots of fields here. For example, I want to search my records by the entry ID. For example, imagine user has called your company and telling you that he or she has submitted a request on your website, and the website gave them an entry ID or tracking number of 10, for example. You can just simply search by the entry ID. It is auto-incremented and it is generated automatically by the Gravity form. As a second item, I want to search by job, and I can make it a select radio or just link. I'm creating it a radio button. And for the last filter, I'm going to set a last name. So what is the point here? I want to show the data where, for example, the job is set and the last name is this. Actually, all the fields should match, or just any of them match. For example, job is front and the ID is 10. In this case, we are going to have two results. For example, one row with the ID of 10 and another row, the second row, as a, for example, front end job. But if I check this, it will only show the results that are 10 and their front end. It is just logical and or definition. I'm leaving it all, and I am showing a clear bottom here, so I could just reset the search and get it back to the first step. And if you check this, switch this, actually it will show all the field choices, but in this case it is only the existent in the form entries, and do not add just extra data. So let's update this and see it in action. I'm going to reload this page. Here we go. I have the entry of, for example, 16. Here we go. And if I search click the backend, I expect no result because there I've chosen the matching only. Actually, the search should be 16 and the backend, because this was a front end. I got no result. Now, if there's a lots of data, I can filter it again with the last name, and here we go. The clear item resets the search, and I'm back to square one. Refreshing the page will not remove the actually approval entries. It is fixed and saved in the database, so you could just proceed and go on. So this was the general specifications about the form. And what if I want to change these titles and make it something beautiful? In the setting of the view, you could just scroll to the actually column that you want to change, and you could just create a custom label. For example, is approved by HR. This is the first item, and just instead of showing what was the default link to single entries, I'm just switching it to detailed. You can manage the width of the columns. For example, for the numeric and row numbers, you do not need something large, and you could just put it on 2% and something like that. And for the fields like description or address or important data, you could just make it bigger, 10%, 20%. It is all that you switch and decide. And here you could just add more filter about visibility. For example, your website needs to show users sensitive data, for example a salary, for example a manager name, or whatever you want. You could just check it and create it any logged in user, so as a visitor of your website I could not see that field. It will go blank for me. And if I'm approved user, for example I'm a business partner of your company, or I have just reached that level that you gave me a username and password, I've logged in to see your website. So if I'm approved user or logged in user, or with some roles on your website as the WordPress could just provide you, I could just see this detail button, or this any field that you just chose and check this one. I'm putting in not the logged in users, and in the previous video we talked about this. You could just add custom class, for example a red text. This is a name of a class. I'm just refreshing the page. If you just refresh it, here we go with the title and this title. And if I just add some custom CSS in the customization and the customize tag, here we go, just add a class with the name of red text, color red. As you can see, here we go, we are changing the color of that column. So if you just give this red text to any of these columns, their text color will be red. For example, red text for the job also. We expect to just, let me close this customization. Here we go, 2 columns with the text color of the red. So you could just make it bold. For example, the job title is important, so you have to make it bold, make it the font bigger, change the color, change the font, center, make it center on the flakes, or anything, any other CSS. Only 2 columns that you specify. So after that, we have created a filter bar, we have created a approval status, custom CSS, custom labeling, and in this item here we know how much users have submitted our form, and it is ready to pass to the management level. Now if you want to pass to your manager, just showing a table is not enough. Your manager maybe could not just take time to watch all of the data, filter them, or just search on it. So here is the point. You could just add a chart to this table. For example, a chart with the percentage of approved or rejected, percentage of male or female, a specific country, a job offer, for example, 100 CV requests for backend, 20 for frontend. If you just could show that data on the chart, it is a game changer. There's two options about showing a data in the chart that we are going to discuss in the next video. One is using a plugins, and the second item and the second way is to use the API and lots of chart engines. For example, Chart.js, for example, Google Charts, Apex, and so on. If you enjoyed this, I'm challenging you to ask more questions in the comments, and let me know about any other questions that you could just face in the Gravity View and Gravity Form. Subscribe my channel and wait to see more tricks with the Gravity Forms. Thank you for watching.